While Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham continue to duke it out in court, Friday the 13th fans are the ones who are really hurting, as they haven't had a new film in over a decade. So fans have taken the matter into their own hands. Friday the 13th fan films are not new. One search on YouTube and you will find a gaggle of them. But two high-profile fan films are being released this October, and being the dedicated F-13 fan that I am, I wanted to check them out. So let's talk about Never Hike in the Snow and Voorhees, two very recently released Friday the 13th fan films. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. While you might be watching this video on the Kings of Horror Network, I urge you to click over to my ML Miller Frights page and give it a like, share with your buddies across the electronic superhighway, click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Let's get the word out to new folks so we can make the Kings of Horror Network, as well as ML Miller Frights, bigger and better. Be on the lookout for a new Kickstarter campaign for an anthology I participated in called Nightmare Theater. This is a collection of short horror stories made by a whole gaggle of talented souls. The project is being helmed by David Schrader and Clay Adams. I paired up with my pirouette artist extraordinaire, Carlos Granda, for a morbidly fun morality tale to filmgoers who dare break the rules of common courtesy in the wrong theater. If you're interested in fun, scary, and gory horror, please support the Nightmare Theater Kickstarter campaign. Look below for the link. Never Hike in the Snow is a Friday the 13th fan film directed by Vincent DiSanti and written by DiSanti as well. You can find it now on YouTube, and I'll provide a link to both the trailer and the film down below in the description. Never Hike in the Snow is noteworthy for a few reasons. First, it's a sequel to the highly popular fan film Never Hike Alone, and two, it places Jason into a winter environment. There have been rumors that the next Friday the 13th might be set in the winter months, and this not-so-short 30-minute film serves as a nice way to test to see if that might be a good idea. Never Hike in the Snow is a breezy short that tells two interconnected stories. A teen decides to go hiking alone through the woods surrounding Crystal Lake in the winter and runs into a certain mask-wearing monster, and a police officer, Sheriff Rick Colon, played by Vincent Gustafaro, investigates the teen's disappearance. Meanwhile, a mysterious loner named Tommy Jarvis, played by Tom Matthews, knows Jason is back and killing again and is out to stop him. Less of a film with a beginning, middle, and end, Never Hike in the Snow feels more like a setup to a bigger movie. It sets players up on the board, but the short never really plays out to a clear and satisfying resolution. What we do get is a pretty amazing scene of Jason stalking and slaughtering a hiker, and then some creepy scenes of some cops investigating what looks to be Jason's new sleeping quarters, which includes his altar built to honor his murderous mother. I believe filmmaker Vincent DiSanti is planning on making more installments, so I'll reserve total judgment on the film until I see it all, but this segment isn't as satisfying in the storytelling department. There are moments of scare and carnage that are done extremely well. One scene is wonderfully realized as Jason targets his prey with a bow and arrow, and the other accomplishes all kinds of suspense as a cop investigates Jason's cabin. There's a great gore shot, and Pamela Voorhees' head is nice, ripe, and rotting. It's great seeing Matthews again as Tommy Jarvis. The actor is older, but still plays the part of the paranoid Tommy very well. The biggest surprise was seeing Gustafaro again as Rick Colon, now sheriff of Forest Green, the former Crystal Lake. It made me realize that Rick never did get what he deserved in Jason Lives, and it was a surprise for me to see him reprise this role. Both returning actors really make this film feel more authentic than most fan films. While the snow cover isn't the deepest, this film still captures that cold and chilling feel of the forest at night. I'd love to see a bigger budgeted film with 3 feet of snow and Jason trudging through it with determination. While we don't get that here, Never Hike in the Snow does give us a glimpse of what might be happening in future franchise installments. Though there are some storytelling issues, I'm really not interested in ever seeing the old wear Pamela's sweater to fool Jason trick used again. Never Hike in the Snow does a lot right and delivers a very cool and crisp mini Jason adventure, continuing the look and feel of Friday the 13th Part 6 Jason Lives, one of my favorite installments of the franchise. Voorhees, a Friday the 13th fan film, is directed by Cody Falk and was written by Falk and Chris Plagen. You can check out the link to the trailer and the full movie below in the description. Voorhees is a full-length, hour and 40-minute movie, longer than most of the entries in the official franchise. It tells the story of a quintet of thieves who rob a bank and plan to lay low at an abandoned campground until the heat dies down. The campground just happens to be on Crystal Lake, and the malfeasants, along with a pair of hostages, are unaware that their presence has awakened the masked killer living in the lake, Jason Voorhees. While many fan films attempt to continue or add to the mythos of the Friday the 13th films, especially the first ones, Voorhees plays more like the latter films, which simply use Jason as a framing device by telling a complete other story that happens to cross paths with Jason. It doesn't try to add to the mythos. It doesn't try to explain who Jason is, what he's about, why he can't die, or any other point in his origin. Instead, the robbers happen to find themselves at Crystal Lake, and Jason races from the lake to kill them. These robbers don't have anything to do with Jason coming back to life. They simply wash some blood off of their hands, and soon after, Jason leaps from the lake. I prefer this type of approach when it comes to fan films, as any attempts to explain origins, push the mythos further, or evolve the characters really isn't worth it, and will immediately spark the ire of the fans they're serving who simply want to see Jason slicing and dicing again. So don't go expecting some kind of contrived way of resurrecting Jason, or for that matter, some overcomplicated method to beat him in the end with Voorhees. Jason simply is at the beginning of the movie, and Jason simply is at the end when there are no more people to kill. Those looking for a Jason story are going to be disappointed, but honestly, I don't think there are many out there looking for that. What people are looking for are gory and brutal kills, cool scenes of Jason brandishing new and classic weaponry, some good and bad characters meeting their fate at Jason's hands, and some fun action and gore. And that's pretty much what you get from start to finish with Voorhees. From the first minute on, there's some kind of action, carnage, and violence going on. The bungled heist plot is not one that's been done in the Friday the 13th franchise before, so it feels fresh to see so much of the cast who are more diabolical and well-armed taking on Jason. This means there are more guns versus Jason fights than usual in this movie, something that doesn't really seem to faze the guy, unfortunately. There are close to 13 kills in the film, so there's plenty of carnage to be interspersed, and while there are a few characters thrown in simply to up the body count, most of the characters involved are ones we get to know and maybe not care about, but at least they feel like fleshed out characters. This again is better than most fan films, and actually a lot of the latter films of the franchise which simply introduced characters to kill them rather than tell an interesting story starring characters. Voorhees focuses mainly on the action and the goal for the criminals to make it through the night, take the money, and run. It's not the deepest of plots, but it's one that makes for a fun, albeit thematically empty installment compared to the psychological horrors explored in the first 5 to 6 films. I still found Voorhees to be thrilling from beginning to end. The gore and violence is amped up much more than what the series was able to get away with in the 80s and 90s, and Jordan Blanco offers up an angry and brutal Jason reminiscent of Hodder's Fed Up Jason from parts 7 through 9, and Ted White's Vengeful Stalker from part 4. This Jason is savage, putting a lot of oomph into every one of his kills. I also think the unmasking scene was well done, as was the look of Jason's face, which is always a hit or miss moment in the franchise. While the story basically is whittling people down to the last player, there are some plot points that will make you care for their fates. Eileen Sugamelli plays Elena, one of the hostages, and gives you someone innocent to root for. She gives a rough and tumble performance that requires a lot of physicality. Alice Bosga is another standout as one of the criminals, but at least not one of the worst ones. She seems to have some kind of brains, which makes you root for her to survive. The cast is talented, maybe not up to Hollywood quality, but much better than the usual amateur, low-budget performers, and Cody Falk's directing is crisp and to the point. The lens never shies away from the splatter, but it doesn't gratuitously fixate on it either. While the lake is prominent in Voorhees, I was surprised at the lack of actual woods in the film. Most of the movie is shot in fields, country roads, and inside dilapidated houses and farms, which feel a little bit more like a Texas Chainsaw movie than a Friday the 13th one. Still, some drone shots give Jason a big budget quality that most fan films don't have. Serving as a highlight as to why we all love Jason, Voorhees takes a bit of time to get to the Jason stuff, but keeps things interesting all the way through. It's not thematically heavy, but makes up for it in jolts, squishes, splats, and even some solid scares. There's a final moment twist that falls flat and really doesn't make a lot of sense, but nevertheless, Voorhees serves up to be a good appetizer to tide us over until the real thing can be unleashed. These two efforts are some of the more accomplished fan films out there that don't have the stitches and seams showing like most low-budget appreciator-made fare. I recommend Voorhees and Never Hike in the Snow to all of those who call themselves Friday the 13th fans. That'll be it for today. Please chime in down in the comments and let me know what you think of this video, how on the nose or mind-numbingly wrong I am, or you can counter with your own review. If you like this video, please pound that thumbs up button. Share this video with your social media addicted pals. If you're looking for written reviews, you can find them on mlmillerwrites.com. Don't forget, I have 2 new horror comic book trade paperbacks you should look for. Grave Trancers is out right now, and Pirouette, collecting never-before published issues, will be out on November 18th in only the finest of comic book stores. Diamond order code APR 201712. And be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for alerts to be the first to see my future videos. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're doomed. You're doomed. Live the life that you are meant to be. Live inside